Most of you guys have already heard by now that RFK Jr. has called for the ban of synthetic food dyes by the end of 2026. This decision was made because of the potential adverse health effects that synthetic dyes pose, specifically in neurological disorders amongst children. There's also been growing criticism that places like Canada and Europe have already banned these dyes, but Americans still continue to consume them. So, for a second, let's completely set aside politics and just see what the science has to say about these dyes. First off, artificial dyes are typically found in ultra processed foods, which means it can be a little hard to tell if it's the dyes themselves or all the other ingredients in these foods that cause these adverse health effects. But broadly speaking, many experts do agree that replacing these dyes that really only serve aesthetic purposes with a natural alternative would be preferred. So let's see what gives them a bad rap. The first two dyes are orange B and citrus red number 2. These two dyes are set to be banned within the next few months. According to the NIH, these have fairly limited use, so the immediate banning of them would have a lesser effect on the producer and consumers. Orange B is really only used in sausage casings, and citrus red number 2 is only used to enhance the color of oranges and is only put on the peel. This immediate ban is largely based on numerous animal studies that resulted in negative health outcomes. Citrus red 2 is considered a possible human carcinogen due to its effect on causing bladder tumors in certain animals. And orange B has been proven to cause liver damage, kidney issues, and lymphoid atrophy in rodents. This led to the FDA proposing that it needed to get banned in the year 1978, but since companies stopped using it, they never finalized this decision till now. The six other dyes scheduled to be banned are yellow 5 and 6, blue 1 and 2, green 3, and red 40. Now, these dyes are going to take some time to be phased out just because they're in so many processed foods that their immediate removal would cause some serious supply chain and manufacturing issues, which in turn would benefit nobody. And companies also need some time to figure out what natural alternatives they're going to use to replace their ingredients with. Now, these dyes specifically have been highly criticized due to their possible link between neurodevelopment disorders and dye consumption. The percentage of American children with ADHD has risen from an estimated 6.1% to 10.2% in the last 2 decades. And before I get into the next study, I do want to clarify that there are many other factors besides diet that could possibly lead to this rise, such as a wider range of the criteria of what ADHD is and just heightened awareness of the disorder in general. This data led to the state of California's decision to conduct a food dye study. This study consisted of giving children a dye-free diet for several weeks, then comparing their behavior to when they are eating artificial dyes. The study concluded that there are some children that are way more susceptible for behavioral issues when they consume dyes, such as hyperactivity and lack of focus. Then their animal studies showed that there are sometimes microscopic changes that happen in the brain when the animals were given artificial food dyes. This same research found that the FDA safety limits for food dyes are based on research that's around 35 to 70 years old that doesn't take into consideration behavioral issues in children. And many researchers believe that these safety limits are way too high. In a comprehensive report titled Food Dyes: A Rainbow of Risk, published by the Center for Science in the Public Interest, found very similar results when it came to their examination of these dyes. They found that red 40, yellow 5 and 6, blue 1, and sodium benzoate were all associated with hyperactivity, restlessness, and impaired attention span, which are all symptoms of ADHD. Now, while sodium benzoate isn't a food dye, it's a preservative that's often paired with these dyes that increase the chances of these adverse effects of happening. Now, I don't want this data to scare you and completely deter you from eating the foods that you want to eat, because you have to take in consideration that lots of these studies, especially the animal ones, are pumping the subjects with a lot of artificial dye that the typical person isn't going to eat in 1 week. But at the same time, I do agree with this ban, because why risk things like neurodevelopment disorders and cancer just so the food industry could pump out more aesthetically pleasing and marketable products? That's just my opinion though. Let me know what you think.